These and other poetic concerns are at play in Jay-Z's richly allusive Meet the Parents from his 2002 The Blueprint 2 album. In his memoir Decoded, Jay writes that he never intended Meet the Parents to be subtle, and yet the subtleties of this track abound. Meet the Parents has a powerful effect for first-time listeners that will be ruined by my exposition. The title Meet the Parents alludes to the great Ben Stiller movies of the same name. As a 60-year-old black man, I hearken back as well to the film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, in which a black physician, played by acting idol Sidney Poitier, meets for the first time his white fiancé's liberal parents, played by screen legends Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, who have no idea in advance of his race. Stiller's 2000 film Meet the Parents, directed by Jay Roach and also starring Robert De Niro and Blythe Danner, was a remake of a 1992 film of the same name directed by Greg Galliena. Stiller's Meet the Parents was popular enough to support two sequels, Meet the Fockers and Little Fockers, and two television shows, the situation comedy In-Laws and the reality television show Meet My Folks, both of which debuted in 2002. There's no doubt that Stiller's Meet the Parents was an apt allusion that easily worked in the collective consciousness of Jay's listeners. The film humorously details a time-honored tradition of life partners meeting each other's families. Stiller's version of this tradition stews in the anxiety that these situations often provoke. It is pure comedy. Jay's Meet the Parents is decidedly darker, an epic tragedy. Jay-Z's Meet the Parents exposes without effort the unspoken white and class privileges that fuel Meet the Parents. In the film, two upper-middle-class families come together before the upcoming nuptials of Greg Focker, played by Ben Stiller, and Pam Burns, played by Terry Polo. The film highlights the cultural differences between the Burnses, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant family, and the Fockers, a white American Jewish family. Meet the Parents is about a monumental inner-city one-night stand between two characters named Isis and Mike. Their brief union produced the unnamed protagonist of Jay-Z's tale. Isis loves Mike for all the wrong reasons. Mike was the hardhead from around the way, that she wanted all her life. Shit, she wanted all the hype. Mike immediately denies his paternity and absolves himself of any fatherly responsibility. If that was my son, he would look much different, he says. Mike disconnects from his son and from Isis. The decision by the father to not claim or care for his son is one with which Jay-Z personally identifies, since his father left home when Jay was 11 years old. It was a tragic and defining moment for the young Sean Carter. As an internationally renowned artist, Jay takes a moment to allude to his pain and to underscore the pain of black fathers who abandon their kids. But Meet the Parents functions lyrically as a composite of interlocking allusions. More tragedy looms for Isis, Mike, and their unnamed son. 14 years go by in Meet the Parents without Mike and Isis speaking and without Mike talking to his son. In a Shakespearean twist of events, Mike confronts a young hustler on the urban strip where he normally hustles. He tells the younger man to move along, and the younger man bristles. They face off and draw weapons on each other, each armed with a snub-nosed .38 pistol. The younger man hesitates because he sees a glimmer of himself in the older man's face. That bit of hesitation proves to be deadly, as the older man fires 6 shots, killing the younger man. Jay's narrator provides the costly moral lesson as the song concludes. 6 shots into his kin out of the gun. Niggas be a father, you're killing your sons. Jay repeats the lines for emphasis and chilling effect. Black fatherlessness has often been prompted by draconian public policies like unjust prison sentencing and counterproductive housing rules. It has also been overblown by media coverage and made political fodder for right-wing and liberal interests. But the allusion to Meet the Parents is a powerful reminder that the challenges of parenting and absenteeism in African American communities are real. Meet the Parents may not be so subtle in its jarring contrast of black fatherlessness and the easy paternal privilege of the film it alludes to. But the figure of Isis demands a deeper reading as we grapple with black rituals of mourning. After seeing her son's dead body in the morgue, Isis's addiction grew, prescription drugs, sip and brew, angel dust dipped in woo. She is as tragic a figure as either of the men who draw on each other in the song. In too many painful ways, Isis embodies the modern black mother in mourning. We know these mothers, Sabrina Fulton, Leslie McSpadden, and Lucy McBath among them. They are women who are forced into a sorority of suffering to publicly mourn children lost to senseless violence by the police or by black folk. It is telling that Isis is the name of the Egyptian goddess of mourning. When her husband Osiris is killed by her brother Seth, Her mourning becomes mythic and divine. With her divine magical prowess, she reassembles her husband's body and brings him briefly back to life. But ultimately, Osiris cannot remain among the living and becomes the king of the dead. This establishes Isis as the goddess of mourning and the queen of the dead. The myth of Isis is a family affair in Egyptian lore, and Jay-Z taps into that timeless mythology, connecting it to the challenges that we face in contemporary urban and black communities. Meet the Parents is a mythic tribute of its own. It is a warning to its listeners of the perilous outcomes of forsaken parenting, and an indelible paean to those who struggle to survive the neighbor-to-neighbor, father-to-son, and brother-to-brother violence that plagues our communities.